Welcome back to part 2. And in the last video, roughly, this guy right here was literally saying about the privacy of basically trans women in a changing room, and then he was called out about what about women's rights, and that he can't speak out for women because he's not a biological woman, which is completely true. You're a biological man speaking on behalf of women, but guess what? Women don't need you to speak on their behalf. They can do that themselves.
Is that 1 in 3 women in America are abused violently in their lifetime, and in every single day in America, 13,000 women are a victim. Why are we talking about one trans woman being in a changing room?
How on earth did you go on to a subject from trans athlete, and it's exactly like this woman? She went off the rails. He's now gone off the rails. We've now gone on to a subject about domestic abuse. This is how you know, roughly, that they've lost the debate, and that they're trying to turn this debate into this whole other thing that was completely unnecessary. And you can see right here, she's completely offended, and I don't blame her, roughly, because for one, he's talking about abuse when this is a debate about trans women competing in men's sports.
Dare you, a man, say anything about women feeling unsafe?
I'm allowed to talk about safety.
No, you're not, roughly. It was literally not about that, and you made it out to be like this. So you know what? Don't get mad at other people for calling you out when you've literally talked about a subject that you have no rights to talk about.
No, you can't, because you're not a woman. You have never had a period. You've never been a woman
What
in a
I'm
woman's
saying,
toilet.
Esther, is
So
that
don't
you're
even mention
picking
that.
on one... Well,
I'm not picking on that. I'm talking about the fact that women around the world are being affected because we are validating a
so, but you're shouting at
scientific
biological men, your words. Why am I...
Did you hear that, roughly? See how he's getting angry? You're literally shouting at a biological man about talking about debating about biological women, but yet, roughly, this guy, roughly, just literally completely lost his mind and changed the subject onto abuse, but now he's offended. God, what's this world coming to?
And you're allowed to talk about biological men, so why am I not allowed to talk about women?
Hang on. We are conflating various issues here. So let's get back to the actual issue we want to debate, which is...
Thank you, Piers. Roughly, he went off the rails, and you know what? The fact, roughly, that he feels offended. You should feel offended, roughly, because you started a debate and you couldn't even finish it.
The issue of this young Somerthorpe, Aidan Gallagher. I come back to Tommy here. You know, I know this debate always inspires everyone to get very angry, and there's lots of allegations of transphobia and so on. I really think they're missing the central point. There is a reason we separate sexes in sport. And the reason, like I said, when the Olympics are in Paris later this summer, if you allowed women and men to compete in a generalised way, then women would win almost no medals. Literally, other than 1 or 2 events, possibly equestrian, possibly archery, there are very few things which, anything that involves power or stamina or speed or snow.
Piers, can I ask you a question really quickly?
Yes.
How rude. Did you hear that, roughly? Because they're on about, roughly, the separation of sports, roughly. Sorry, I almost said trans when it's not to do with that. The gender spectrum of the sports, roughly, being in different categories, and that art, and then all of a sudden it goes washing up. This is how you know this person doesn't really know anything, and is like one of those people that is like, you listen to me, I'm not listening to you. You listen to what I have to say and my rights, but I'll talk about your rights, but then dish you about your rights. And then, 1 second.
And then
Sorry about that. Life of being a carer, eh? I completely forgot what they were on about.
Because have you ever undergone any kind of like hormone replacement therapy?
Oh, you mean chopped off his penis? Because
No,
that's
I haven't.
Hang
No.
on, hang on. I'm not talking to you, Esther. Hang
Yeah.
on.
You see what I mean? Him and her would make a perfect couple. Because for one, nature, they're like going off the rails. But thing is, roughly to talk about roughly HRT and say, have you ever gone on HRT? These women will. They will eventually go through menopause. And I really don't get why they call it menopause when there's nothing got to do with men in it. But you get what I mean. But to sit there and say roughly, oh, are you going through hormone treatment? They could be going through menopause and not know it. And they would have to go through hormone treatment. So it's not just trans people that go through this kind of thing.
Okay.
I'm talking to Piers.
Yeah.
Because actually, the body does undergo an incredible amount of toil.
What it doesn't
when
do,
you actually-
Francesca, I've heard this
Hang on,
argument.
hang on.
It
No,
doesn't
so,
change.
but-
It doesn't change your body mass.
No.
No, it doesn't. Believe it or not, when you are on HRT, there's a lot of videos now saying that hormones change your voice. It changes your body structure. It doesn't. Bone is bone. Your vocal cords are your vocal cords. You either have a proper masculine voice or you have a feminine voice. And that are actually, I have, lucky enough, I was blessed with a pretty feminine voice. Not 100% feminine, but believe it or not, I used to get misgendered a lot when I lived as a gay man, because like I said, I thought that's how gay men thought, roughly, that they were women, and not like, a woman, roughly. This is my experience. But thing is, my God, was a hassle. We might talk about that in a little bit of a debate. But let's continue.
No, it doesn't.
It does.
No,
it
it doesn't.
absolutely can change your body
No, it
mass.
doesn't.
Absolutely.
No, it does not. The fact that she's saying that clearly knows that she's not done her research properly. Hi, Wolfie, I've been taking hormones for about 5 to 6 years. It does not change your body mass, Wolfie. It decreases a little bit of your muscles. But thing is, Lish, guess what? You still have that strength behind you. Sorry, my eyes are playing up. And that it does not change a lot of stuff, including body mass index. Wolfie, I'm always going to be broad boned, just like my mum and that are literally. That's just how our body structures are.
The
It
amount
doesn't.
of
You
hormones
remain
that
as
can-
muscular.
it
You know, I know
drains-
this. Talk to someone like Caitlyn Jenner,
Piers.
who was,
Yes.
as a man,
Oh my God.
was the decathlon gold medal winner for the United States of America, and was then, when she took up golf, having transitioned, was told she could tee off
Asking Caitlyn
from the
Jenner.
women's tees. Right, the women's tees are 50 yards further ahead than the men's, and she said she was winning every tournament.
Asking Caitlyn Jenner for any advice or practical information is like asking you, Piers, for how to get a six-pack. Like, what are we doing?
Actually,
But Caitlyn Jenner tells the truth. There's a difference. Caitlyn doesn't believe in biological men competing in women's sports, and Caitlyn knows this. Even though she's transitioned, she knows she's got strength behind her. And to deny that and to dismiss that, roughly, because I know she's been dismissed from the community because of the beliefs that she believes in, but she does tell a lot of truth.
I've got quite an impressive
Very true.
growing six-pack, as my Instagram feed
The
will
point
tell you.
is
Let me
that your
come
body
to-
undergoes a lot of
Let me
changes,
come
and
to
it's actually
Tommy.
incredibly difficult
I
to
want to point
compete.
this out.
Tommy.
Piers, I want to point this out because your guests here, I mean, talk about the snake eating its own tail. They're sitting there talking about trans rights and affirming transgender ideology, but then they're saying that Caitlyn Jenner, who is probably the most famous trans person, that doesn't count.
Yeah.
Because Caitlyn Jenner is not only a Republican, but Caitlyn Jenner also calls out biological men competing in women's sports. So your guests
Yeah, Wolfley, exactly what I says, Wolfley. It's like the kettle and the teapot into Wolfley. And like I says, it's alright for them to basically call out all these issues. But then to say to other people, no, you're in the wrong. This is how it should be going. And that, but then to deny an actual trans woman with an actual diagnosis of gender identity disorder or gender dysphoria. Sorry, I got an itch on my foot. than to dismiss her and say, you know what, Wolfie, you don't know what you're talking about. She would technically know a lot more from what you guys would ever know, because she's going through that change. But then to call out Wolfie someone who's actually trans and say you don't know what you're talking about, Wolfie, just like this woman's calling them out, Wolfie, they're hypocrites.
Sit here and they
Caitlyn
cry
Jenner.
boo-hoo
Trans
tears
women.
about trans
Trans
rights,
women, please.
but then they dismiss Caitlyn Jenner. It's amazing. These are also the same people who claim to be feminists, but also don't care about actual women being robbed of opportunities.
Yeah.
That's why liberalism is a disease, and you can just let these people talk and they argue with themselves, Piers.
The point is,
Well said, my love, well said.
if Aiden Gallagher competed according to their biological sex, they would not be succeeding. They wouldn't be winning state championships. They would actually not even be qualifying for the finals. That is the point everyone's missing.
Piers,
Is that actually
why do you care about
women's integrity, women's sport?
But you don't. Have you done a segment on Caitlin Clark and pay disparity? Have you done a where were you when the U.S. women's
He doesn't
national
need to-
team?
he doesn't need
and
to-
the
Well,
United
Amy, you have
States-
no idea. Well, hang on. Francesca, you have no idea.
There's too many people talking over each other, Wolfie, and that's it. It's this woman right here, and he's sticking his nose in there as well. Wolfie, these two are trying to make a point. These two are Wolfie changing the subjects, just like Piers says. Wolfie, he's trying to make it stay on the actual subject. They're trying to basically make it out to be something else.
Dear Ashley,
Shut up.
you have no idea
Piers,
what I
what
said
about
about
when
women's.
And did you hear that, Wolfie? She was just telling these women, talking about it, also about these biological women, Wolfie, to shut up for trying to call this woman out. That's how you know, Wolfie, she's lost. Wolfie.
Women's national. What about when the women's national team wins in the United States, right? They won like 4 times at this point, and what happens? Oh, Megan Rapinoe, who is both a lesbian and also like one-time knelt during the national anthem, she's not a real patriot. They freak out. Donald Trump tweets about her.
No, you're
Everyone-
missing Megan Rapinoe.
I just
Megan
say
Rapinoe is a very, very good football player, but also incredibly irritating. And I noticed that when she retired, it was only then she said that she wanted trans women to be playing in the American women's national team. In other words, when it wasn't possible for that person to take her position. Because here's a scenario for you.
And that's the end of the subject on that one. Roughly the fact that somebody could have won their medals and stuff. Roughly she's now roughly allowing another community to take over, roughly, and to try and win medals and stuff to where she couldn't do it.
Lionel Messi puts his hand up and says, actually, I'm feeling like a woman today. Do you play him in the American women's national team, Francesca? Yes or no?
Lionel Messi had to undergo an incredible,
Yes or no?
he had to undergo an incredible amount of treatment when he was young. He had a bunch of like.
Would you allow him to
all
put
kinds of
his hand up,
medicine and
say he's a
everything in order
woman,
for
and
him to
play in the
actually
American
grow,
women's
'cause he had a
national team?
growth spurt. I'm a big Messi fan, so. But let me just explain this
Answer
to
my
you.
She's not even answering the question, because in this generation now you can be a biological man, not even go through hormone treatment, the surgeries and stuff, and compete in women's sports and going to women's urinals, aka bathrooms, roughly, and she's completely avoiding the subject because she knows roughly it would be a heated debate.
question. Would you allow him, if he said, I'm a woman, to play in the American
You're
women's
using
national
the wrong
team?
pronoun
Yes, yes, yes.
See how roughly he's now packed in, you using the wrong pronouns, but Piers is trying to get a point across, and now they're bringing pronouns into it.
Right now, hell yeah, are you kidding me?
Wow.
Messi on the U.S. women's national team? Hell yeah.
Would you
because
allow
that would
Usain
mean-
Bolt to do that and be in the sprint?
No, it would not be a good thing. It would be a completely bad thing to have a biological man, roughly like still a man, competing in a women's sports. No.
Because that would mean they're a trans woman. They identify as women.
I get it. So just to be clear, you'd let Lionel Messi play in the women's national football team and destroy women's football forever. You'd let Usain Bolt.
Very difficult to get a ticket, which would suck.
I want to do a little checklist here. You'd let Usain Bolt compete as a sprinter in the American women's Olympic team.
Yes.
Okay. You would let Floyd Mayweather compete as a boxer in the women's American boxing team.
Yeah,
you are a
you have to be,
complete
like, the
and utter
heavyweight,
lunatic.
I completely agree with Francesca. I agree with Francesca. And I go further, actually, Piers.
Yeah, you would agree with a lot, Wolfley, because for one, you want people to love you, Wolfley, because you're speaking about, Wolfley, transgender rights. We don't need you to speak. We can speak for ourselves. Thank you very much.
Position.
You always say that you want to be a penguin. I would let you live at London Zoo in a cage like the rest of the penguins.
You know what? I'd be a very popular exhibit. Esther, here's the problem. It is so delusional. The idea you would let Usain Bolt say, I'm a woman, and compete against women on a racetrack when no man can compete with him, right? It's utterly ridiculous.
And what Piers should have said in this debate is, right, I'm now identify as a woman and I'm going to compete in women's sports. He should have brought that up, Wolfley, and see if Wolfley they changed their minds. Because pound to penny, they would do. They'd have a heated debate saying, oh, you're just doing it for fun. But thing is, Wolfley, to then say to people, Wolfley, oh, we affirm your gender, we affirm your pronouns. But when Piers, Wolfley, is making a point across about these pronouns and stuff, and Piers saying that he's now identifying as something else, Wolfley, they automatically call him out for it. But yet they don't like being called out for their own stuff.
I'm just convinced that they don't actually believe this, but to the logical conclusion of their ludicrous arguments facilitates the need to actually say these things. Also, this is a testament to the poor quality of public education in both the US and the UK, that you both don't understand the basic economics of how sports entertainment works.
Yeah.
If there are not enough bums on seats, you don't get paid enough. That's literally it.
That's
So
it.
sitting there outraged about the fact that some female players don't make as much as some male athletes, guess what? Go and buy the tickets to their games and start boosting up their viewing figures, and then maybe...
Caitlin Clark got more views.
Look at the revenue for the Women's World Cup and compare it to the Men's World Cup. They are light years away.
Can I say one thing?
Caitlin Clark was the most watched women's college player ever. The ratings were through the roof. She's getting sponsorships
Compared to the
left and
average
right.
male college viewership.
Okay, we're going to move on.
She had more views than them.
We are moving on to a different issue. I want to talk about Harrison Butker first. Tommy, I want to come to you on this. Let's just play a clip. This is a guy who's a Kansas City Chiefs star. He made a commencement speech at Benedictine College in which he told women they should aspire to be homemakers. Take a look.
Oh, God, no.
I think it is you, the women, who have had the most diabolical lies told to you. How many of you are sitting here now, about to cross this stage, and are thinking about all the promotions and titles you are going to get in your career? Some of you may go on to lead successful careers in the world, but I would venture to guess that the majority of you are most excited about your marriage and the children you will bring into this world. Not the deadly sin sort of pride that has an entire month dedicated to it, but the true God-centered pride. Be unapologetic in your masculinity, fighting against the cultural emasculation of men.
Now, Tommy, this created a huge furore, of course.
I don't like the fact Wolfley is just basically saying, Wolfley, that women are only put on this earth to basically breed children and to basically serve men. That's what it's coming across as. And then she's talking about Pride, Wolfley being an entire month. I do agree with that one, Wolfley. Pride used to be a day's event. Now it's become an entire month as event, Wolfley, and a lot of people are no longer liking it. And I don't blame them. Wolfley, Pride has now become this entire other thing. And believe it or not, I have not been to a Pride for years. Because for one, the Pride used to be where we were walking and we're marching for a reason. Now it has become this other thing where children go to Pride, and the problem is you've got grown men walking around in thongs with chains and whips and dog masks.
Kansas City, well, the NFL, I think, threw him under a bus immediately, so they were outraged, it wasn't their opinions and so on. But there's been a lot of surprising voices of support. Bill Maher, for example, a Liberal, came out and basically supported his right to say this. Is obviously religiously motivated, what he said. What did you make of what he came out with?
Listen, I don't don't agree with everything that he said, but I also think a lot of people are taking it out of context. He's a Catholic speaking to other Catholics, so you have to put that in context. He's not speaking to people at a pride parade. He's speaking to Catholics who hold traditional Catholic views. And there's nothing wrong with him expressing his opinions. We can disagree with them, but I would also like to point out that when he's giving this commencement speech as a Catholic to Catholics, he's not like some of the other athletes who want to kneel at an actual football game or...
Like I said, everyone is entitled to an opinion. Roughly in this world, roughly it's called free speech. And the difference is roughly men feel roughly that because of all these issues with the LGBT community, that men have to be very feminine, and when they speak up about their masculinity, it's automatically thrown back in their face. So you can see a point why he's speaking up, because he's trying to appeal to other men about, you know what, roughly we need to basically say something and not sit back. So I do agree.
Who want to force fellow athletes to wear rainbows when they're going to compete at their sport. He's giving a commencement speech to Catholics. So the left really needs to decide, do they want athletes to take a stand or not? Because we are told that Colin Kaepernick and others, LeBron James, Megan Rapinoe, they should be hailed for their political speech. But then Harrison Butker, who gives a speech, a commencement speech to fellow Catholics, all of a sudden that's a bridge too far.
Okay,
Oh,
James,
I think,
James, your
honestly,
response.
I mean, he talked about Catholic pride. Really?
Pride in God.
I think it's actually the most shocking part of that was
People do have pride in their religion. More power to them. But thing is, roughly, did you see roughly how roughly he was trying to make it into an LGBT topic just by his facial expression?
the fact that he mentioned Taylor Swift and called her his teammate's girlfriend. That is so offensive.
Why?
That
She is.
so
She is.
offensive.
She is.
He said that, well, she has a name. She's one of the most successful women on the planet.
obviously
And he was
joking.
talking about how
Why have you got no
should
sense
be
of humour,
only
you
focusing,
honestly?
only focusing on having kids.
One brigade
Like,
can never laugh. When you all get together, do you ever tell jokes?
do you know what?
You're
Maybe-
supposed to be a
Piers
comedian.
Morgan, maybe Arsenal should take his advice and just sit at home and get married and not play football, because clearly they do.
Actually, many Arsenal players are actually married.
Fundamentally, why is he? I mean, as Tommy said, why is he not allowed to have those views? There are many women who sit at home, by the way, doing a much harder job than anyone sitting here.
because
right?
it has a responsibility.
Sitting at home, bringing up children is a hard job.
Very. A
So
massive
why do we
job.
denigrate it by saying
I'm
that's
not-
all you're going to do?
I'm
Why
not
can't you say
denigrating
that?
it, but how dare you?
Exactly, roughly. You have to call him out for the fact, roughly, that he's basically saying that women are only brought on this earth to raise children and to look after men and to be in the kitchen to cook for men, roughly. But now this guy right here is very angry.
You tell anyone what they should be doing. It's not an opinion if you're telling people what they should be
He's
doing.
allowed to
Told
give them
women
advice.
were in the room that they'd wasted 4 years.
You tell people what to do all the time.
Hold
I
on,
don't
would you-
tell people what to
James,
do.
would
But
you-
Tommy's point is right. He is allowed an opinion. But what you're missing is that this opinion is being broadcast to millions of people.
Hold on, James, would you have had a problem if he said go out there and be boss babes, girls, and be CEOs and all of that?
No.
You only have a problem because you disagreed with his stance. And
Exactly.
I think one of the
It's
interesting
offensive
things
stance.
he said is that many women would look forward to their promotions and all of that, but they look forward to being mothers more. Because actually, many women don't have great careers. Most women don't get to be CEOs. They don't get to be business owners. They usually become administrators.
So is that a
work in
reason to
offices.
give up?
No, but the point is, we've glamorized this whole idea of women in the workforce as in go be boss babe and do, own
I never
Facebook
once
and all
said
of that.
boss
And the
babe.
vast
Babe.
majority, the overwhelming majority of women are overworked, underpaid, doing unglamorous jobs, and somehow that's seen as something to be glorified as being a boss babe.
But you know
Actually,
what it
it's
also
really
comes
not
back
great.
to? There's also this whole idea of what activism is allowed and not. How should people be forced to do it? For instance, there's a football player who plays for Monaco in France, and he's from Mali in Africa. He's called Mohamed Kamara, and he and the whole team were told to wear LGBTQ and the rest of it pride badges.
Not everybody has to celebrate Pride. This is what I'm on about, roughly. People are having their jobs basically jeopardised due to the fact, roughly, that they don't want to accommodate for Pride. Everybody knows Pride exists, but to sit there and to say, you know what, roughly, you're going to wear this. Roughly, if I wasn't LGBT and someone told me to do that, I'd rather walk away, mate. The difference is, Buffy, we shouldn't be forcing this upon people. But thing is, we got people like these two that are basically saying, you know what, Buffy, we're the badgers.
For a game, and he refused, right? And the French sports minister has now said he will be facing the strongest sanctions against him and his club for refusing to wear an LGBT pride badge. Now, James, again,
it shouldn't be right, Buffy. Everybody is allowed their own opinions, and that are now, Buffy. If, say, like someone was wearing a cross, that'd be a completely different debate, Buffy, and that are literally so. You're not going to win either way. But thing is, Buffy, people need to stand up and say, you know what, this is wrong. Buffy, jobs shouldn't be in jeopardy due to the fact, Buffy, of other people's rights.
I simply say this: why the hell should he have to? If his conviction is from a country, by the way, which is a place where they do not believe that homosexuality is anything but a sin. I don't agree with that. You don't agree with that, obviously. But that's where he comes from. His religious conviction tells him that. He's not being homophobic. He's not saying homophobic things. He just doesn't want to wear an LGBT pride badge while he's playing football. Why the hell should he?
What, LGBT and the rest of it, did you say?
Yeah.
Do you want to know what the rest of that is?
Even you don't know.
I doubt he even knows what all that LGBT stuff is now, because it used to be LGBT, but it's now LGBTQ plus something, and that literally, and believe this is coming from a bloke that requested over 150 gender identities and couldn't even name one.
I do actually. Go on, then. LGBTQ, F you. Now, back to what you were saying, let's have a conversation about it.
You actually can't remember the rest of the digits, can you?
I can.
He can't remember the digits, but yeah, Buffy's just told someone to fuck off.
Let's have a conversation about it. He also covered up a sign that said no homophobia in French.
Right.
So, you know,
why should he have to
listen,
wear
on
them?
one hand, I'm like, cool, if you don't want to wear the rainbow flag, that's a bit awkward. But if you don't want to wear a flag that says no homophobia,
Why should he have to?
So what, are you pro-homophobia? No, if you don't want to,
It doesn't mean just because someone's wearing roughly a badge or a flag that says no homophobia, they're just stating roughly that they don't want that, or they don't believe in that subject. But the thing is, they want to respect other people's wishes. To make it out roughly that people roughly are homophobic is wrong.
Want to support
He doesn't want to wear it.
No homophobia just means no bullying. It means human rights. And if you don't want to say that, then what the hell are you
I'm
doing
going to be
on the
honest,
team?
I wouldn't wear an LGBT pride badge.
Do you support
on
homophobia?
air. No.
Right.
But this is Piers. It is a private it is a football team, right? That's their prerogative. This is not a
he
nation
doesn't have to
state
wear it.
implementing this. Yeah, I mean, right. So I don't know why you're getting so upset, and also it's like a weird
Because they're going to sanction
transition.
him.
Exactly.
Okay.
Well, they should.
Okay, yes,
Then
okay.
he can.
Do you hear that? Well, they should. No, they shouldn't. Somebody's job shouldn't be in jeopardy just because you don't agree with them not having a freaking pride flag or badge for an entire month. No.
Then he can go play somewhere where they don't make him wear that.
No.
Now we're getting onto the gender stuff again. Oh, he should go into his own category. No, everybody wants labels. That's kind of like some of, the people that are like, oh, I don't like labels, but then they paint themselves with labels.
Tommy, let me bring you in for some common sense as usual.
No, but I thought we were talking about Harrison Butker. I didn't get any bite at the Butker apple here.
Well,
That's
Gil,
not
have a bite
fair.
of the Butker apple. Go
I think
on.
we all know
I mean,
what
he's hot.
we're going to say, so we can just summarize that.
Yes.
Girl,
We'll
don't you
probably
have
do
a
what she's gonna say
Beyonce
on that.
album to
I
get
wanna
pissed
talk
off
about
about?
this because it's
She's
something-
she's in a cowboy.
See how waffly she's gotten off the subject again, waffly. This woman's talking about the subject they were on, and she's like, you know what, Wolf, love, you're making me mad, waffly. And now she's gone off on a completely whole other story. And you know what, waffly, she and that bloke lost this debate.
Outfit.
Okay.
Ooh, she got an American flag on. She thinks she's a country
Yeah.
singer. I'm sure you've got a few
Never
videos
said
to do
anything
about
about
that.
that, but whatever.
Yeah, that's why. Please don't
You
interrupt
seem
me when I'm
rather obsessed with my work, so I appreciate it. Here's, I'd like to get back to the point at hand.
Yes.
So,
Wait, I'm sorry,
again,
were you
women
talking,
supporting
girl?
women, be
I
quiet
don't
while I
think so.
talk.
No, you
Okay.
talk.
How completely, utterly rude. you butted in her conversation, this athlete right here, and basically blocked her from saying stuff, and then when she decided to speak up again, you blocked her. Were you talking? No, you weren't talking. Now that's a class of bullying.
Francesca, can you let another woman speak, please?
Yeah.
No,
So much for being a
I'm not going to
feminist.
because you talked about Harrison. Now I'm going to talk about Harrison. Harrison Butker's mom is a physicist who works in an oncology department. All this is
This woman right here, she's totally over it. Muffley, the fat Muffley, she's had enough of this woman.
a bunch of mommy issues that he laid out at a bunch of female graduates who are trying to celebrate this incredible achievement, and he tells them that they've been told a diabolical lie. I mean, that is absolutely disrespectful and degrading.
Okay.
Talk about
But yet you're being disrespectful to these women right here. And degrading them for their beliefs. Okay. Right, I'm now going to go on to part 3 because this is a very long debate. Speak to you soon.